Michael Bloomberg, I think, was probably the biggest loser in this debate. To the extent that there was a loser, I would say that it was Michael Bloomberg. I think a lot of people did not win. I don't know that anybody won. And in that situation, you're in like a four-corner situation in basketball, and the person in the lead wins. And I think that's why, some of the polls right after the debate showed Bernie got the advantage there, because I think on some level it's like people went in, and he was obviously leading in the polls, and I think people came out and said that I have no reason to believe that anything's different, and I think that's probably what happened. But Bloomberg, I would be surprised if he doesn't lose another couple of points because of this debate. The first debate that he was in really hurt him bad, and there was a couple of moments. So what do you do if you know that you did horribly in the first debate, but you want to sort of make it seem like, these things happen, it's not a big deal, right? It's not a big deal. We've all been in this situation where something embarrassing happens. You're embarrassed about something, and you have two ways of responding. You can respond defensively and signal to people that you're defensive about it, and maybe there is some truth there or something. Maybe that's a problem. Or you can respond confidently and slough it off and maybe make even a joke at your own expense, which signals to people like, he's not bothered by this. Well, Bloomberg really tried to do the latter, but he ended up doing the former. And this is important here. Matt is going to scroll through to where it is in the debate. Now, this is an hour into the debate, and Michael Bloomberg is asked a question about redlining. But he wants you to know that he was in no way embarrassed by last week's debate performance.
In this
Mayor Bloomberg, please, we were going to ask you about this. I want to give you a chance to respond, because in addition to what Senator Warren just said on Twitter, she called you a liar and a borderline racist because of what you said about redlining.
Yes, she's. I'm sorry, but unfortunately, she's misinformed on redlining. You can go back and look at the record. I fought against it before 2008, the crisis, during 2008, and after that. Redlining is not the problem with the mortgage market, but it was a problem for the communities where it was done, and we stopped that. Let me also say, because since I have the floor for a second, that I really am surprised that all of these, my fellow contestants up here, I guess would be the right word for it, given nobody pays attention to the clock. I'm surprised they show up, because I would have thought after I did such a good job in beating them last week that they'd be a little bit afraid to do that. But let me just say, when you're talking about affordable housing...
Folks, listen, all right? This is, we try and stick to politics here. I don't like to give personal advice about stuff, certainly not financial advice, but I do understand this dynamic. And if you want to communicate to people that you're not defensive about something, if you meant to say it at the beginning of seeing them again for the first time, and you forget, don't wait to bring it up out of nowhere, because then it makes it seem like, yes, in fact, you've spent 50% of this debate waiting for a moment to pretend like you were just casually remarking about last week.
I'd like to spontaneously say now, an hour into the mark of the debate that we are presently in, that now that you're discussing another horrific thing that I've said and done in my career, we've already done, I guess, 2 of those, but it's not true. I didn't say that black people shouldn't have houses, but I did so great last time.
Dude, just take the L.
I just popped that joke off.
You got to let it go. You don't want to force a round peg into a square hole. If you find yourself, this is like...
He had an audience that...
Ask me a question about gun violence, please.
And then it goes like this.
I'm not a racist, incidentally.
No, and then it
I
goes
just want to make that clear.
No, it goes like this. You ask for the question about gun violence, and I go, okay, we'll get to that. What about blaming the financial crisis, not on Wall Street, but on poor people?
Boy, I gotta tell you, great weather we're having these days, isn't it? I'm really surprised. What did he mean by contestant because no one's following the clock?
Because in reality shows, they break the clock.
Yeah.
Just like black people break their mortgage agreements, which is why we had redlining. Oh, I should have said that. You were misinformed about what I just said.
For some reason.
Anyways, I'm doing a great debate.
Every candidate besides Bernie last night thought it'd be a good idea, or at least Biden and Bloomberg, to just complain about how everyone's over-talking everybody else.
Right. Whiny Biden is the best.
That's what America
Biden.
wants.
Right, exactly.
Someone complaining to the reps.
Right.
Just make fun of. I mean,
Excuse me, Mr. Trump has spoken of against me. Do I get extra points?
They want to speak to the manager.
There you go.
If Bloomberg doesn't drop at least 10 points after this debate, we will definitively know that the debates don't matter.
Well, the debates don't matter that much.
I mean, the last one seriously damaged him.
10 points?
I saw one that was up to 20.
I mean,
yeah, that one was bad.
I don't know if it was 10 actual points, but his trajectory went from like straight, almost straight up to basically like almost straight down.
I guess especially for someone like him who is just living in his own ad.
He was so susceptible to that because there was no foundation for his rise.
Well, as Tony Karen said, you know what Bloomberg's best moment was last night, right? The ad for his campaign.
That's right. Exactly. That's also, first off, let me just say this about the debate. I mean, the debate was bad. The questioners were really bad. And there was a time where the League of Women Voters sponsored all the debates, and they would have more or less the same the same moderators, a small group of them. And some of them were decent, some of them were problematic, but at least on some level they could create a narrative over the course of the debates. And because they weren't so commodified, there wasn't such a desire to sort of go after stuff that was sort of meaningless but might be more, of the moment. And this is, I don't expect the candidate to complain about those things because it comes off poorly. But really, this is such a disservice. The idea that these things are commodified in this fashion. The DNC, the RNC can do what they want, I guess. The DNC too can do what they want. But what they really should do is make a concerted effort to because they can't control the outcome of these things. It's already been clear, right? Like they tried to do it during the 2016 election, and it didn't work. It didn't cut in the favor that they thought it would. They don't have the ability to anticipate or predict the implications of these things. So just give it to an organization that is nonpartisan. Put in a list of moderators that you want. The Republicans can put in a list of moderators they want, and you randomly pick from them or something like that. There's a way to do this where it is not commodified. You can let the different networks, have the broadcast rights, but should not be a commercial for their own, cross promotion of their shows. It is just get people in there who can do the job well, as opposed to like trying to, pump your evening news thing.
Yeah,
That
put
sounds
it on
like
public
communism.
television.
That sounds like communism.
In fact, I think when the League of Women Voters did, I remember it was like McNeil and Lear who would do a lot of that.
It was
stuff.
always on PBS, right?
I can't quite remember, but nevertheless, like you can put it on if let all the networks decide if they want to carry it or not. And if they want to bid for the rights, let them bid for the rights, but you don't get control over the backdrop. You don't get control over the moderators.
Who streams
You don't
it?
get control over that. Yeah, it should be for public.
Yeah.
This theoretically is a public service. We got shut down on Twitch last night. I don't really care that much about it, but we anticipated that we probably might, but it's ridiculous.
It's totally fair use what we're doing.
I agree with
Particularly because it's not just criticizing the politicians, it's also criticizing the way this stuff is covered. That's important for democracy as well.
Yeah, and it's important that they don't have a say over people doing that.